Dear Mrs. the President of the Swiss Confederation, dear Mr. President of the Republic of Ghana, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to address you a warm welcome to our press conference. After the two statements of the presidents, we will have the opportunity to take some questions from the audience. As we have interpreters, please feel free to ask your questions in German or in English, and please use the translation. So, Mrs. the President, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, sehr geehrte Damen und Herren. Die Freundschaft zwischen der Schweiz und Ghana hat tiefe Wurzeln. Unsere Staaten pflegen seit mehr als 60 Jahren diplomatische Kontakte. Und die Schweizer Botschaft in Accra feiert in diesem Jahr ihren 60. Geburtstag, wie ich in wenigen Wochen auch. Es war also höchste Zeit für diesen Staatsbesuch. Unsere Länder teilen gemeinsame Werte hinsichtlich Demokratie und Rechtsstaatlichkeit und wir setzen uns beide für Stabilität und für Frieden auf der Welt ein. Aufgrund unserer traditionell sehr guten politischen Beziehungen hat sich der Austausch in vielen Bereichen stark entwickelt. Wir wollen den Staatsbesuch aber nicht nur zur Würdigung des bisher Erreichten nutzen. Wir wollen unsere Beziehungen auch weiter ausbauen und vertiefen. Wir kommen jetzt soeben von den offiziellen Gesprächen, an denen wir aktuelle Themen mit dem Präsidenten und seiner Delegation diskutieren konnten. Seitens der Schweiz nahmen der Vizepräsident, Herr Bundesrat Guy Parmelin, und Bundesrat Ignacio Cassis an dem Treffen teil. Ich darf Ihnen sagen, die Atmosphäre an diesem Gespräch war offen und herzlich. Wir haben über die Kooperation in der Friedens- und Sicherheitspolitik gesprochen, über die Wirtschafts- und Handelsbeziehungen und über die künftige Zusammenarbeit im Umweltbereich. Es beeindruckt mich, wie stark sich Ghana für die Friedensförderung der UNO engagiert. Die Delegation aus Ghana hat uns zudem über die Entwicklung der Afrikanischen Union informiert. Die Schweiz möchte künftig noch enger mit der Afrikanischen Union zusammenarbeiten. Wir unterstützen Programme zur Kooperation, Prosperität und Sicherheit in Afrika. Ghana spielt als stabiles Land eine wichtige Rolle in der Region. Wir leisten seit 2006 Beiträge an das Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center mit dem Ziel, Frieden und Stabilität zu fördern. Und wir werden das auch weiterhin tun. Ghana ist heute der zweitwichtigste Handelspartner der Schweiz auf dem afrikanischen Kontinent. Der Handel wird geprägt davon, dass die Schweiz Gold und Kakao aus Ghana importiert. Wir brauchen diese Rohstoffe, Ghana hat diese Rohstoffe und unser Ziel muss sein, dass der Reichtum dieser Rohstoffe beiden Seiten zugutekommt und dass in beiden Staaten die gesamte Bevölkerung etwas davon hat. Wir haben deshalb auch darüber gesprochen, was unsere Länder tun können, damit das Ziel der wirtschaftlichen Entwicklung und der Einhaltung von Menschenrechten und Umweltstandards noch besser verfolgt werden kann. Wir haben uns darüber unterhalten, welche Verantwortung den politischen Behörden und welche den beteiligten Unternehmen zukommen. Ghana und die Schweiz engagieren sich gemeinsam in mehreren Initiativen, die zum Ziel haben, die Transparenz der Finanzflüsse zu verbessern und die Einhaltung von Menschenrechten und Umweltstandards zu fördern. Ein weiteres Beispiel für die Zusammenarbeit sind die freiwilligen Grundsätze für Sicherheit und Menschenrechte. Wir wollen unsere wirtschaftlichen Kontakte partnerschaftlich und in gegenseitiger Wertschätzung pflegen. Wir sind uns bewusst, dass für Ghana neben der Rohstoffgewinnung auch die Verarbeitung von Rohstoffen an Bedeutung gewinnt. Die Schweiz engagiert sich zusammen mit Ghana zudem für eine diversifizierte Wirtschaft. Ghana ist ein Schwerpunktland der wirtschaftlichen Entwicklungszusammenarbeit der Schweiz. Es ist ein Programm für Länder, die in ihren Regionen positiv ausstrahlen. Der Bundesrat möchte dieses Engagement mit Ghana über 2020 hinaus verlängern. Und noch zum dritten Thema Umwelt. Wir möchten unsere Zusammenarbeit ausbauen. Wir haben heute eine gemeinsame Absichtserklärung zur Umsetzung des Pariser Abkommens unterzeichnet. Diese sieht vor, dass Ghana und die Schweiz möglichst rasch eine bilaterale Vereinbarung über eine solche neuartige Zusammenarbeit schließen. Denn um ihre Klimaziele zu erreichen, muss sich die Schweiz im Inland anstrengen. Es braucht aber auch internationale Projekte und ein erstes Programm, zum Beispiel zur Installation von Solaranlagen in Ghana, wird derzeit erarbeitet. Sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, die Schweiz und Ghana verbindet bereits sehr viel. Das kam heute klar zum Ausdruck. Die Unterzeichnung der Absichtserklärung im Umweltbereich zeigt aber, dass wir Potenzial haben, noch mehr zu tun und unsere Beziehungen weiter zu vertiefen. Ich danke Ihnen, Herr Präsident, für Ihren Besuch und ich freue mich auf den weiteren Austausch und die Stärkung der Bande zwischen unseren beiden Ländern. Thank you, Mr. President.
Madam President, thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the media. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon and to brief you on the just ended successful meeting between President Simonetta, Sommaruga, and myself. I thank President Sommaruga for graciously inviting me on a state visit to Switzerland and for the very warm welcome that has been extended to my delegation and myself since our arrival. It is a reciprocal one to that paid by the 91st President, Her Excellency Doris Luther, to Ghana, the first European leader to visit our country during my presidency. This visit falls a historic day in the annals of Ghanaian nationalism. 72 years ago, the senseless shootings at Christiansborg Crossroads by the colonial police of 3 unarmed, heroic Second World War ex-servicemen marching peacefully to present their grievances to the colonial governor aroused the wrath of the nation, sparked countrywide riots, and deepened immeasurably the demand for our national independence, which had been first expressed on the seminal day of 4th August 1947, when the first political party in our history, United Gold Coast Convention, UGCC of blessed memory, was established. So I'm here on a day of historic significance for all of us Ghanaians. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to reaffirm also the ties of cooperation and the bonds of friendship that Ghana attaches to her relations with the Swiss Confederation. The President and I discussed at length how to boost further our political and economic relations, cultural and people-to-people exchanges, as well as our cooperation at the multilateral level. Our deliberations also centered on driving investment opportunities, domestic and foreign, into our two countries, and the need for enhanced cooperation and partnership in our development efforts. Towards the realization of the 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, it touched on the need to promote a better world and address global issues relating to the 17 goals. I also used the occasion of my talks with the President to express appreciation of the Ghanaian people and their government, to the government and people of Switzerland for the support we have received since the establishment of bilateral relations between our two countries. The President conveyed the deep sympathy and assistance of the Swiss people for the determination of the Ghanaian people to win the battle for rapid economic development through the transformation of our economy from dependence on the production and export of raw materials into a value-adding industrial economy anchored on the things we make and grow. It is this transformation that will give us the best opportunity to derive maximum benefit from our abundant natural resources and enable us to create a firmer foundation for meaningful, long-term economic and commercial relations with Switzerland. I'm happy to state that this afternoon's meeting has hopefully put Ghana-Switzerland relations on a new level, which will see Ghana and Switzerland collaborating on all fronts and in the search for global peace and security to promote sustainable development around the world. In conclusion, let me say how the Republic of Ghana is honored by the accord of a state visit to Switzerland on her president, the first by a Ghanaian leader since our independence, and the first by a sub-Saharan African leader in 60 years. Thank you very much indeed, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let us take now some questions from the audience. Who would like to ask the first question? Please. You're welcome. You can push on the button too. Yeah, thank you.
Well, President Sommaruga, with today's talk on trade between Ghana and Switzerland, do you foresee an improvement in investment in Ghana than as it is today? And if I may ask, why Switzerland allows more investment from China to Africa, while Switzerland is traditional African investors? And may I ask Your Excellency, President of Ghana. Oh. Sorry. Okay, let me just stop there.
Okay, thank you. I can answer you in English. Of course, yes, we talked about more investments from Switzerland to Ghana, especially in the field of infrastructure. I think Switzerland is very strong in that, and we talked together with the President that there are quite a lot of infrastructure to be done in Ghana, and if you can have a cooperation, be it in investing, be it also in exchange of technical knowledge, engineering, so I think it could be in the interest of both of our countries. With the Memorandum of Understanding we have been signing today, there is also, I mentioned that already, a possibility to have some co-financing, for example, for photovoltaic. So I think renewable energy is also something which is in the interest of both of our countries. So these are just a few examples. If you ask me why China is more investing in Ghana than Switzerland, well, this is your decision. It's the decision of Ghana. But I think that we have a common interest to have more investment, and we will talk about that. And I think the visit of your president is really an important point to exactly go in or do more in this direction.
Thank you, Madam President. Second questions? Yeah, bitte.
Excellency, I have two questions concerning commodities and sustainable development. As far as I know, the 15 ECOWAS countries have adopted cleaner fuel standards a few days ago, a measure that Ghana took 3 years ago already. So first question, do you consider Ghana as sort of a pioneer in that matter, cleaner fuel? And question number two, how do Ghana authorities control if the companies comply with the new Ghana fuel standards?
Well, being a pioneer is a role that is one that Ghanaians are quite happy with. I think you know that that's been our role on the continent and in West Africa. The control is always a function of how effective our own bureaucracy and institutions are. So far, we still have challenges, especially with the importation of illegal fuels into the country. We have challenges in terms of our marine, our coastal borders, as well as our land borders. There are always in these matters, when you're attempting reforms and changes, you have the dark side, criminal cartels, that will organize themselves to find a way of flouting your laws and also entering the market with the very material that you're seeking to ban. But we have to continue. I think the important thing is to insist that it is a fight worth fighting. It's like the fight that we are orchestrating against illegal mining in the Galamsey. It will not be a fight that will be won overnight, in one movement or in one gesture or in one initiative. It will have to be a systematic drilling away until finally we achieve the goal that we're seeking, which is a saner and healthier environment for all of us in Ghana. There are vested interests that are at play and lots of money at stake. And whenever that is the case, you know what it leads to, penetration of bureaucracies or even of security agencies and the rest. But this is a fight that we have to win, and we have to continue to persevere.
Next questions? You want? Maintenez, appuyez sur le bouton en parlant.
Elaji Gorgui Wadindoy. I'm a Senegalese journalist for Le Soleil, which is a national newspaper, and the director of ContinentPremier.com, a Pan-African magazine. I have two questions. The first question for Madam President Sommaruga. President of Ghana said loudly, clearly that he would like to work for Ghanaian people. He talks about industrialization of his country. They have the raw material. Now they would like to transform it. The question is, if Switzerland is ready to accompany Ghana for this new direction, because we know that there is no development without industrialization. President of Ghana, my question is regarding the currency you will be using. In Africa, as you know, my generation are talking a lot about the money we Africans are using for our development. Could you tell us a little bit about the new ECO? Because we have followed the discussion you were having inside ECOWAS, but we know that there is some presidents who are talking something else. Could you please here clarify the position of Ghana, the position of African Union about ECO? Thank you so much.
Okay. So your question, this was exactly what we were discussing today with Mr. President, that of course Ghana wants to diversify its economy, and this is absolutely clear and understandable, and there are a lot of ideas about that, and more than ideas, that are also concrete plans to do that. And of course that belongs also, or if you talk about that, it's also the question of transforming commodities or raw material in the country itself, to have the added value in the country. And of course we discuss about that because Switzerland has some experience we can share, and we can share also the experience we have made and our knowledge. And I think this is also one aim of this state visit, that exactly we can talk about that. What can we do? What can Ghana do? What can we do together? Because here we have some knowledge we can exchange.
Yes, Mr. from the Le Soleil. Soleil is a very famous newspaper in Senegal. And yes. Two things. First of all, I can clarify for you the Ghana position, and also to a lesser extent also the ECOWAS position. I cannot clarify for you the AU position. I'm not aware that the AU has taken a position on this matter, because it's essentially, at the moment, a West African issue which is within ECOWAS. Secondly, ECOWAS has decided for some time now that it is going to move towards not just a single market, which is implicit in the whole ECOWAS idea, but also towards a single currency. And in order to achieve that single currency, it is set out as a series of convergence criteria that have to be met by the various members of the ECOWAS community in order to make the single currency possible. The ECOWAS meeting that took place recently in Addis Ababa on the sidelines of the AU summit reaffirmed the commitment of ECOWAS to these convergence criteria, one of which is that to support the single currency, we would have to have a central bank in West Africa organized on a federal basis. We would also have to have a currency that is a floating currency, not one that has any fixed relationship with any other currency. So those are the two critical decisions that ECOWAS reaffirmed recently. As far as what has been done by UEMA in arriving at a new currency, which they're calling the ECO, I think there's clear understanding that the ECO that is being contemplated by UEMA is not the full ECO that ECOWAS is talking about. But it is a very important step towards it. For years, those of us who were concerned about the narrative of the single currency were extremely concerned that 8 out of the 15 nations of West Africa had a currency that was being managed by an external agency, the Banque de France, which is the CFA. Not only being managed by an external agency, but there were French officials that were responsible within the system for the management of the currency, and that it had a fixed relationship with the franc and then ultimately with the euro. Now, the decisions that they have taken to cut the link with the Banque de France, to cut the link with French oversight of their currency are extremely important steps. They have reassured the rest of us that indeed we can really contemplate, at the end of the day, a single currency which is managed by us within ECOWAS ourselves. Because it was a major obstacle. I know that the Nigerians and ourselves in Ghana were not prepared to enter into an arrangement where the currency was being controlled by any external forces. That was completely out. And I think that the decision that UEMA has taken under the very far-sighted leadership of Alassane Ouattara is to reassure their partners in ECOWAS that is no longer going to be part of the equation. That reality has gone. There's a new reality, which is we're taking charge. And they're making transitional arrangements for the ECO pending the implementation of the entire criteria, the convergence criteria that we're talking about. So I don't see any contradiction between what has been done by UEMA in moving out of the CFA into the currency they're calling the ECO, which I see as a transitional arrangement until we get the fully developed ECO that all of us have agreed on within ECOWAS. But it is a historic step. 60 years after independence, all of these Francophone countries were still caught up in this arrangement with France. Today they have broken, as it were, cut the umbilical cord with France as far as the management of the currency and the economy of the countries are concerned. I think it's a very important step, and they should be commended for their courage in making that decision.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Madam President. According to our program, we have to conclude our press conference here. Thank you very much for attending, and have all a nice evening.